printing these NATO mods for a few years now, and I've done this through a cross-country move and 3 extra kids on top of 20-something chickens and a lot of stuff to take care of. I can't provide print services anymore. I will provide the final version of this mod in STL format for you guys to download. There are online print services. I don't know which one to recommend. I've never used one. There are also 3D printing labs at most US public libraries. That is the route I would recommend if you want to keep printing these for yourself. Any future 3D designs I release will be download only for a small fee on my Gumroad page or any future storefronts that will be updated in the description.
Okay, I'm just going to go over a quick overview on what your file should look like in Cura or Slicer or whatever program you are using. The best way to print this, I have found, is to print along this flat side right here where my mouse is moving. I usually lay it flat. This is the correct orientation that it should be printing in. That's the strongest way that I have found. They print pretty well like this, but you can set them side by side if you want. I usually, with my quality at 0.25, you're going to want to do 75. You do not need support. Build plate adhesion depends on, of course, your printer. I can get away with a heated build plate and no brim. However, using a brim is probably a good idea until you can dial in your settings. I always put a little bit of a distance so I don't have to clean up the edges. This right here will get you the type of prints that you want. Now, for a basic cap, you will want to print it vertically. This one, you will need support because it is very annoying trying to print this in such a way that doesn't require a lot of cleanup without a support. And this will print you a pretty darn clean piece. Again, you can use a brim. Sometimes it will sink into, it'll like lose a layer or so when you print with just a brim directly onto the build plate. So sometimes you do need to use a raft. And that will just kind of help that last layer there not elephant foot out. Just be aware of that. Of course, you're going to want to do 2 of these. I usually print them like this. Tree also works. Sometimes that is a lot easier to remove. Just make sure that it doesn't go inside of the hole there. It's just something to keep in mind. There you have it. I hope that helps.
So we're going to talk about how to insert the mod. This is a very tight fit. I have gotten it down to the point where it is quite difficult to insert, but that's because if you don't, it wiggles a little bit. So there are some things to keep in mind when you insert this mod. You're going to want to really make sure that it is pushed in absolutely all the way. The holes, when you look through, will not appear to line up exactly, but you should be able to see through to the other side. If you don't, I'm not sure why that would be there. Maybe there's a piece of plastic. Sometimes plastic gets stuck in some of these little areas here. So you might want to see if you can insert the pin in the first place. It can get stuck at this point right here if the pin is pushed down this way, so you have to push it away from the watch sometimes to get it through. So you're going to want to put the mod in as far as it can go. Push down on the side that you're going to start the pin with and push it through right here. For me, this is very easy to do because I have inserted and taken out these things so many times that it's very easy. Let me use these pink ones for easier viewing. So I just printed these, so these are going to be a little harder. So you can see that it takes a little bit of force. It might go in at an angle. And you're going to try and push it all the way. It will probably stop here because now it has to get through this last part here. So now you're going to switch back to this side and you push here. I made a special tool, but really anything with a flat end here will get it through. And you're going to push it. It takes some force to get it through. Sometimes you will have to brace it against the table and push it in that way. By the way, these pins are 1.4 millimeters, so you can get just a piece of metal. They have pins like this for sale on eBay or Amazon that are 1.4 millimeters. I just made a handle for this one. So again, and this is the other way. You brace it against the table and you push the pin in. Be very careful if it is too tight to not push. If it's stopping very, very close to the end and a lot is sticking out like this, if it's stopping close to the end that you just put in, there is a chance you can bend the pin. So if you push hard. So try and get it through as far as it'll go. If you can't get it in at the very beginning, and you do need to file, which I do not recommend, I try to get it in there without filing. I have marked on this one to show kind of an area where you can file. A very small file like this is what you'll need, and at first you're going to want to try and bevel the edge to guide the pin into the hole. Do very little amounts at a time and test it until it goes through. The last thing that you want to do, if all else fails, is to go in on this side again and remove small amounts of material, little by little, and test it until it goes in. It should not be very easy to go in. There should still be a small amount of force, a little bit of friction and resistance. It shouldn't be difficult, but it shouldn't be free sliding. The friction that you see here, just a little bit of force, a few pounds of force, is what you need to get it all the way through to this end, which is the hardest part to push through. Again, on this side, if you're having trouble on the inside and it's not going over here, again, very careful bevel of the inside closest to this very small gap there. This is, I could not get it further away from that edge, so that's why you have to be very careful here. This will most likely cause a little bit of wiggle. Sometimes it won't, but you want it to be rock solid. Thank you for all the interest in the mods for this very interesting small smartwatch. Unfortunately, mine has a ghost touches on its screen, so it's really not usable anymore. So I have kind of moved on from it. Hopefully, children allow in the future to design more things for other small, strange gadgets. Bye.